Welcome back to After Hours Podcast. I'm your host, Jack. This is episode number 9. And we're going to call it When Bourbon Was More Fun. And it may not be an appropriate name, but I got to name it something. So this week was just one of those weeks, man. Nothing wrong really happened. It felt like a gerbil on the wheel. You know what I mean? I couldn't focus on anything, and I had so many things to focus on. I just couldn't remember what I was supposed to do because I was always doing something else, and it all needed to be done. But it was just a bizarre week, and I just work stuff, for my job that pays the bills, that lets me do this. I got so many. It's like the spinning plates. If you've ever seen the people that do those spinning plates, I don't know that I let any of them crash necessarily, but damn, it was difficult keeping up with all of them. So I was like, fuck, man, what do I want to talk about? I've got so many things, because I talk about my random shit when I'm just driving or drinking or whatever. I'm like, oh, that will be a great episode because I'm curious about something and hopefully somebody else will be, and they'll be like, oh shit, he already talked about it. So, so I was like, I don't even want to think about it. I didn't want to do any research for anything because, I won't tell you shit. I'll give you my opinion, but I'm not going to tell you anything unless I do research. And I just was not having that this week at all. So this could turn out to be more of a rant than anything. But there's bourbon talk involved. So hopefully it comes full circle, and maybe you'll like it or appreciate it, or maybe you won't give a shit. Either way, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to have fun doing it. So what I'm wondering is if you think, anybody out there listening, if anybody was bourbon more fun before we started knowing more about it? And I'm not just talking about what we learn along the way, right? We're learning all the time. But I'm talking about with just all of the information that's out there now. Even the stuff that I put out there, because, again, I love talking about bourbon, so I want people to know. But was it more fun when you just go to the liquor store and grab a bottle and you're like, I'm just going to drink this bottle? Because it is definitely, for many of us, or most of us, it's probably not that simple today as it was back then, right? Because so much is out there that we never even thought about before, and it probably existed. We just didn't know or care. So I talk about it a lot. When I first started, 1792 here, small batch, that's where it all started for me. And it was an accident or mistake. And you can listen to a lot of different reviews and bourbon talks and after hours, and you'll know that whole story. But the story's not about that. But that's where it started for me. And I bring it up because, man, did I drink the shit out of 1792. For someone who didn't like bourbon for 28 years, and that one it hit me right. And it's all I drank for a long time. And, when it would become scarce because, during the vid and all that stuff, some things were scarce. And at one point I couldn't find 1792 small batch on the shelves, and it wasn't because it was allocated or hard to find. They weren't producing enough of it. So back then I was drinking bourbon every day. So I had to, expand my horizons and start looking for other bottles. But man, I just drank hundreds of bottles of it, and it was fun. And then I started paying attention to some of the talk. I wasn't really a social media guy back then. I briefly had a Facebook after I turned 40, but that didn't last very long. And then I just got back into that, not it was a couple of years ago, I think, which was years after I got back into the bourbon game. But I started learning all the stuff, right? And whether it was social media or just hearing people talk about it, I was on Twitter. So maybe that's where it was. Twitter at the time. I was probably, because I know I was talking to some guys about bourbon and cigars, and I used to post shit on there about, just a toast and smoking a cigar, just pick whatever. And so that's when, it's like, oh, there's allocated stuff out there. And shit, back then, I didn't even know what that fucking meant but I got into the chase, right? Because that's what you're supposed to do. So, when influencers are telling, oh, this bottle, you got to have this bottle. And for whatever reason, it was Blanton. So that's what I got into. And it did. And again, this episode is not about that, but it took some of the fun out of it when I got caught up in that rat race of chasing bottles. And again, much like I do now, I traveled for work across many states. And of course, every city I rolled into, go to the liquor store. And at the time, I didn't even know it was called allocated. I was like, hey, you got any of those special bottles or anything rare or whatever? I didn't know until I figured it out. Then I was fucking cool when I went rolling in. You got any allocated bottles? And then that just became the chase. And then it fucking started ruining it for me. I'm anxious and have anxiety and shit anyway, and I'm high strung. So that did not help that situation at all. So, yeah. So this episode, it's like, I don't know, ranting. Maybe I'm going through a post midlife crisis. I mean, I'm in my mid 50s, so that's probably too late for a midlife crisis because I'm definitely not fucking living to 100 plus. So maybe menopause. I've heard that before. I've heard ladies say it, menopause. I don't know if that's a real thing, but so yeah. Anyway, stick with me. I promise it'll get better. Hopefully. So this 1792. I started on it 6 years ago. And again, one of the reasons I bring it up now is this particular bottle. I just bought it last week, I think, maybe, because I'm so busy with the work that pays me that I only do like one review a week now, one breakdown, because I'm too busy traveling and I don't have the time to do a video every night of all the stuff I was doing, but I still enjoy it, have fun. But so again, it's gotten me back into, because I'm not having to find all the new bottles all the time. It allows me to drink the stuff that I enjoy, which is even better, because every new bottle, you just never know. But when it's one you've already had like hundreds of, like this, literally hundreds. And I mean, I'm probably talking 300 or more. So not embellishing. It's literally hundreds. So I bought this one, right, a week or two ago, and man, I just couldn't wait, because it had been probably 8 months, if not even longer. So I open it up. I don't even have to do the old sniff test or swirl it in my glass, because I already know I've had it. But the thing was, it didn't taste the same. Not even close. Now, I'm drinking it tonight, and I can tell you again today, nothing extreme that I ate that would leave, anything lasting to alter it. Drinking water again. But I drank it again today, and it's not the same as it was. Not even close. Now, it's not to say that I don't like it. I I just don't like it like I did before. And when I say I liked it before, I liked it a lot. So, like I said, I don't think they're making it different. I don't think they changed the mash bill. It's still 1792 small batch. So I suspect my palate is changing. I mean, the reality is my palate is getting old as fuck. So maybe that's it. You know, I mean, I loved it so much back then. And yeah, for a while it was all I drank. But then, you know, I started having to, like I said, it was scarce. So I wasn't not going to drink bourbon. So I started trying different ones. And I'll be honest, I'm sure my palate is a little more advanced now than it was because I've tried so many different ones and because I know different things about it. But I still can't taste all the shit that everybody says they can taste, which I still think is a crock of shit. Because again, you're preconditioned, right? Everybody goes out and they research this bottle that they're going to get. And it tells you it's going to smell like cherries and vanilla and oak and leather and caramel and butterfinger and all this. And so your brain has already programmed itself that when you try it, you're like, oh, yeah. Not you, some people. And you see it online all the time. And again, I know some people have refined palates, but I still call bullshit because it's scientifically proven that your brain gets preconditioned to what you think you're going to taste because somebody already told you, and most of it is just your sense of smell anyway. So, but my point is, while my palate is changing, and I'm sure it's a little more refined, things like Elijah Craig small batch, because when this was running low, I would go to Elijah Craig small batch, and to this day, I still love that one, and I still buy it occasionally because it's a great pour, even the small batch version. So, I guess it's my palate. I don't know. Four Roses small batch select. Those are a couple of the other ones that I used to fall back on if, God forbid, there was no 1792 or no Elijah Craig. And I tried other ones in between there because people had recommended different ones. And there were other good ones, but there were 3, 4, 5 that I always went back to that I knew I could count on, that I liked. And even being new into it, I wasn't just stuck on the one that I started with, but I still loved it. And to this day, I've not drank as much of any one as I did that. But it's just not the same as it was, sadly. And because this bottle, back then, it was probably $30. Now you can get it for 24, 22, and it's worth every penny. So don't let me discourage you from getting this one because I still recommend it to people. Because whether my palate has changed or not, I know it's still really good, especially at that price point. And it's often listed in, take a pick, some of top 10, top 20 bottles under a certain amount. It's still right there. I mean, it is a solid pour, but again, to me, it just doesn't hit the same, you know. But I also started getting into the allocated bottles, right? I mean, I became a pro. It's like I finally learned that secret word, allocated. Do you ever remember what your first allocated bottle was that you ever got? I do. And it might not be what you think because back then, you know, I was chasing Blanton's because for whatever reason, that was the one. Go get your Blanton's. I don't know why. That's all I ever heard. And again, I wasn't on social media, so maybe there was something else on social media other than Twitter. But I just knew you're supposed to go after Blanton's, dumbass. So that's what I was looking for. And when I didn't know what allocated was, it's like, do you have Blanton's? Yeah. And they just laughed. Literally laughed because I went into stores. They're like, yeah, we may be lucky if we get one a year. And imagine that, one a year. Some say, oh, we haven't had it in a couple years. It's insane for a liquor store that actually sells the shit not to be able to get it. So, yeah, my first bottle was Colonel E.H. Taylor small batch. And again, it was by accident because I was actually looking for 1792 full proof, the 125 proof version of this. And I'll never forget, I walked into, I'd been looking at that point for a year plus. Somebody on Twitter mentioned it, and I was like, I know nothing about that, but it fucking sounds cool. Colonel E.H. Taylor. And I didn't look shit up back then on bottles of bourbon. I just heard names and maybe snap a picture of what it was supposed to look like in case my wife found one for me. But Colonel E.H. Taylor, I thought, that sounds cool as shit. And it just looked different. So I walk into my specs in Tomball, Texas. What are you looking for? 1792 full proof. Oh, sorry, sir, we don't have it. But I just got these two bottles in of Colonel E.H. Taylor small batch. And I was like, holy shit. I was how much? I don't know. Let me look it up. $38. Can I have both? No, it's allocated. You can only have one. Okay, but can I have my wife come in and buy the second one? Hey, whatever you want to do. So I snatched that fucker up, ran it out to my truck. My wife was at a store just a little ways down the way there. I went over and grabbed her and said, get in there and get this bottle. And she bought the second bottle for $38. And back then, it was the whole fucking hype of everything, and it was paranoia and all that. And I would never, ever dream of opening a bottle if I did not have a backup, because what was I going to do if I liked it? And these things were so exclusive and rare. I just paid $38. It was $150 secondary online. But I opened it, and I liked it a lot. And to this day, Colonel E.H. Taylor small batch is a very, very good pour. And now, with all the changes that have occurred in the bourbon industry, now you can find it on the shelves again for $53 to $60 usually. And I still buy it because I drink it still. And then my next 2-3 bottles after this Colonel Taylor, Blanton's, for fuck's sake, more Blanton's. But back then, I was still paying $120 to $140 a bottle. That was some hype bullshit. And it kind of still is today. Maybe to people that haven't experienced a lot of different bourbons. And make no mistake about it. I mean, it was the original single barrel, right? It is a good bourbon, but it is not like that good. There are many bottles that I would put up against it that you can buy every single day. And a couple of them were also allocated bottles at the same time. Not only the Taylor small batch, Eagle Rare 10-year. I mean, it's a $40 bottle, but it was treated like it was another one of those golden eggs. And in fairness, just those 3 bottles alone, Taylor, Eagle Rare, Blanton's, I would rank them in that order. Honestly, for me, every great once in a while, I'll have a pour of Blanton's. Not very often. And the only reason is because there are so many other ones that I like. And now you can pretty much buy it on the shelf. It's still $80, $90. If you ask me, Blanton's is a $60 bottle of bourbon. Is it worth $60? Probably. But if it was $60, would I buy it regularly and drink it? Probably not. There's just other bottles that I actually like better than that aren't allocated, that you can go buy off the shelf even for $40, $50, maybe $60. Most of the ones I like are probably, they're less than $60. Most of the Old Foresters are in that low to mid 50s. I mean, that's where I like to live because those are so damn good. They may have fucked up by not charging more for those. They could have driven some hype on those because, again, many of those that you buy off the shelf, they're better. Then, so I still buy allocated bottles occasionally, but they have to be at the right price. Now, not a collector. I was never a collector, although I would collect for a little bit until I had a second bottle because I was never going to open up the first one if I didn't have a backup. But now, that's out the window too. You know, I guess my palate's getting older. I'm getting that grumpy old man shit, so I just don't want to wait until I might or might not find a second bottle of the same shit that just took fucking forever to find in the first place. But I still do buy allocated bottles, but now they have to be at or right at MSRP. Unfortunately for me, I talked about Elijah Craig small batch. I also love the single barrels, the toasted. I mean, a lot of things that Elijah Craig makes. And so some of my more recent allocated bottles, and when I say allocated, like the really, really hard ones to find because some of that stuff's not allocated anymore. But this past December, when I was in Charleston, South Carolina, of course, I went to the liquor stores. But now I'll use like AI to say, where's my best opportunity to find hard to find bourbons? Because again, I'm not looking for allocated necessarily. Now, my whole thing is different, right? Where can I find a different bourbon? Because it doesn't have to be allocated. If I find one that's the right price, I'll get it. But I'm looking for different bourbon because I want to try stuff I haven't tried. And I want to tell people who haven't tried it yet, who may be thinking of trying it, I want to tell them about it. But I walk into this place. I don't even remember the name of it now. But I think Grok or ChatGPT told me. And I walk up, and first thing I do, right, you either go to the little cabinet that they've got secured, or you go to the checkout counter because some of them keep it behind the counter or in that cabinet. This place had it behind the counter, and there it sat. Elijah Craig single barrel 18-year, and I had never, at that point, 5.5 years into my journey, I had never seen one in person. It's like Sasquatch. Other people have seen him. I have not yet. But it was sitting there, and I told my wife, I got to get it. It was $200 plus with tax, but that was one I was determined to buy. And no, I was not waiting for a second bottle before I cracked it, because those days were already behind me, 9 months ago. And I loved it. and I talked about how it was probably my favorite tasting bourbon of all time, but it was only 90 proof. And I thought that affected it for me because I like that 100 plus. 100 to 110 or 15 is like a sweet spot. And I was like, man, if this was just a little bit higher proof, it might in fact be the best bourbon ever. Not just my best tasting bourbon to me. Then Elijah Craig, just this year, came out with the 15-year single barrel at 108 proof. As soon as I heard they were coming out with that, I actually ordered one online. And I paid over $200 for it without the freight. But again, I was willing to do that because I was certain that that bottle with the higher proof was going to be my all-time favorite. So I recently did a blind taste test, but more about that later. So $200 each for those bottles. While I criticize people for overpaying, if it's worth it, it's worth it. And if you're going to drink it. Other than that, I've come into some really, really great bottles. Some Taylors, uncut. I can't remember if I got the single barrel or not. I got Elmer T. Lee. I don't remember which other ones they were. Well, the most recent, E.H. Taylor Cured Oak. The difference with these is the Weller 12-year. That's another one. I still got to get that for my buddy Joey. But it's because I have friends, right? So my buddy Joey, he was here in Florida when ABC Liquors were doing their whole trying to get rid of the shit because they hoard it here, whatever they do. It's all bullshit. But so he found a bottle. I was traveling. I was not in the state of Florida, so he got me that bottle. Well under $100. My buddy Mark has connections. Mafia. He's part of the Mafia. This Mafia, not the Mafia. And he's gotten me several bottles under $100. And these are bottles that on secondary are far more expensive. And I wouldn't pay for them if they were more expensive. There's not... Elijah Craig 15-year, that was the one that I'd been waiting on that I was like, I will overpay for that because it's probably going to be my favorite bourbon of all time. Outside of that, again, if I stumble on one, if it's at the right price, yes, I'm going to get it. I'm not going to trade it. I'm not going to collect it. I'm going to drink it. And as my buddies can attest to, I don't know, every month or every other month, we do a happy hour at my house and my bar is open and they know they can taste anything that I have. And this past Friday, they came over and we cracked the E.H. Taylor Cured Oak. And we probably drank a third of the bottle. Now, that bottle, again, paid less than $100. On secondary, I just reviewed that bottle this week. On secondary, that thing goes for as much as $750. And the first release of the Cured Oak was 11 years prior to that. It was 17-year aged. This one was 10. And Buffalo Trace has already said they're not going to make it an annual thing. It's just going to be, I guess, whenever they decide to do it. But a few of us shared it, and it was good. But the point is, I won't pay over, or if it's not near MSRP, it's just not worth it. because there are so many great fucking bottles on the shelf. Now, make no mistake, there are some shelf bourbons that are high priced too. Generally, I tend to stay away from most of those because, man, it has to be really, really good to cost that much more than a 1792 small batch, an Elijah Craig single barrel, Old Forester, anything like the Old Forester single barrel. That's what I was going to pour tonight, but I figured since I'm doing my rant and it's about 1792, that's why I'm drinking 1792 and I guess just testing myself again. But I had my Old Forester single barrel ready to go. But again, even that one you can buy on the shelf now and it's less than $100 and it's worth it. It's worth that $100 price point. But there are so many good ones out there that don't cost. You don't have to search for. You don't have to stress over. You don't have to give up a nut or a child or whatever. And that's why recently I decided to do a blind taste test. Now, I know guys and gals do those all the time online. And it's cool. It's cool for the reviews or the views and the likes and shares and all that stuff. And that's cool. No problem with that. But I wanted to challenge myself because every now and then I'll do my top 5 or top 10 or whatever. But again, I'm doing it from memory, right? Because I remember these bottles and here's where I think they rank. But what if I was wrong? Could have been. I mean, I remembered loving that Elijah Craig single barrel 18 year. And then a couple weeks ago, I got the 15 year and tried it. And I was like, I don't know. But I'd only had it once. And I was like, don't know what I ate that day because I'd been traveling. I just got home and I'm like, I got to try that bottle because it got shipped to me. So I tried it and then I left again. I'm like, shit. I didn't take it with me, so I couldn't try it again. And I was like, I don't know. Do I really not like it? Was I just off that day? So I did the blind taste test. And that was on my Wednesday bourbon breakdown. So if you haven't seen it, go look that one. It's just curious. Again, I'm not trying to get the likes and shit. But it was very curious to me. And it was a legitimate taste test. And so the 18 years 90 proof, the 15 years 108 proof. But what I can tell you is they both drink equally. You might not think they would, being 90 and 108. They're very, very similar. And that's because it's the quality of the bourbon that makes the difference. Hotter doesn't mean better or worse. But when they make a quality one, that's why you hear often not smooth. That's dumb. But you can hear that it drinks softer, hotter, ethanol, non-alcohol, ethanol. That's the difference. So I was afraid I would just be able to tell. But I did the blind test, and I thought I had it picked out, which one was which, after drinking the first one. And then when I drank the second one, and I did a cleansing in between, not a colon cleansing, cleansed my palate. And I was like, oh shit, I thought I knew what the first one was, but now this could be that and that could be that. So, but anyway, I was like, man, and they were so similar, I wasn't sure which one I liked better. And I just thought about it for, I don't know, a couple seconds. And then I picked. And when I turned the glass up to see what was on the bottom of it, once again, it was the Elijah Craig 18 year. Even though the 108 obviously was hotter, I couldn't tell the difference. And they were still very close. But I picked the 18 again. And because of that, that was exciting to me. Again, I did it for myself, but I wanted to share. Now I want to do it with others. And I would encourage you to do it, whether you're doing it for likes or views, or even if you're not online with any of this nonsense that we do, try it for yourself just to test yourself. Like all the old foresters, other than statesmen, I'm a huge fan. So now I want to try those up against some other things, right? Like you ask me, right? We're talking about the allocated stuff. I would put like Old Forester, 1910, 1920, even the 1897 bottled in bond, Four Roses small batch select, Smoke Eye Hill barrel proof, which I still believe is in my top 3. Elijah Craig barrel proof, Larceny barrel proof, the E.H. Taylor small batch still, even Eagle Rare 10 now that you can find it for 40, 50 bucks. Those are all just some really good ones. And now the Taylor and the Eagle Rare aren't allocated, so you can get those. But I would challenge you to blind test some of those. And there's others. If there's others that you like, blind taste test those against some of these rarer, harder to find, allocated unicorns, whatever you want to call them, hype bottles. Try it. And I guarantee you'll be surprised how many of these can compete with those expensive, overrated bottles. Now, there are some rare ones out there. Make no mistake. There are some rare ones out there that are always going to be probably special. When you start getting up into those high-aged bottles, I get it. Some of those probably won't compete, but they might. Everybody's palate's different, right? So for somebody, it may be better to them, you know, a lesser expensive shelf bottle versus even one of those rare bottles. So, but if you're chasing clout or you're a collector and you just want status to show your fancy watch in front of your fancy emblem of your fancy car or truck on the steering wheel, hey, you don't have to listen to me. For me, it has become about the fun. The fun of just finding a new bottle, something I haven't had before. Usually it's going to be on the shelf. Sometimes it may not be shelf if I get one of those bottles for MSRP or thereabouts. And then I'm going to try it, and I'm going to give an honest assessment for people who want to try or thinking about trying it, or maybe they'll be like, fuck it, I'm not going to try that shit now. Or they may be like, huh, if that dumbass likes it, maybe it's good. Or maybe they'll be like, if that dumbass doesn't like it, it might be good. But that's why I do it, and that's why I do this. And I still get asked when I meet people and they find out that I do this. No, I don't have sponsors. No, I don't get paid. None of that stuff. I do stuff to try and get paid. I won't lie about that because this is an expensive habit for me. Not sitting here doing this. Well, the cigars are, the bourbon is. That's what I'm trying to pay for. So, if you want to kick in, buy Jack a bourbon or something, hey, have at it. www.bourbonbarrelmafia.com. But again, I do this for fun. And if it ever gets to the point where it's not fun, I just wouldn't do it. But I've been doing this now for over a year, closing in on a year and a half, and I still have a blast doing it and talking to people about bourbon. And I will continue to do that. But it's still amazing to me because I watch a lot of stuff on, well, let me rephrase that. I don't spend a lot of time online on social media, right? I do the posting and stuff and post my videos and do that sort of thing, but I feel bad because I like people to like my stuff and to follow it and watch it. Again, it's not about getting status or paid or whatever, but I do it to help. So I hope people are watching it and gleaning something from it. But I'm still amazed. I still watch the videos because I'm following so many bourbon people and back and forth. But I see the things, and just if I just scroll through my feed for just to clear the notification, whatever, it's still amazing to me how many different people I will see doing the exact same bottle, right? It's like, hey, this just came. It's like when they first released the Elijah Craig 15 year. It's like all these other people who are probably sponsored or, they have enough clout or status that whoever, the distilleries or the distributors, liquor distributors are sending them bottles. Hey, here, big bourbon guy. And if somebody's that name, it's not you. I'm just randomly. The names have been changed to protect the innocent, if you will. But the point being that you see all these people that have just gotten, it's like, you can't even fucking get it yet, but they've already got it. And they're all doing the review about it, right? And again, I don't know. It's like the same 6 or 10 bottles. Even when the cured oak came out, right? It's like, everybody's doing that one. And of course, yes, I did it. It's not because I have status or clout. It's because my buddy got me a fucking killer bottle that he knew I would want because I like to drink it. And he knows I will open mine before he ever opens his. And he got to try it. So that's the whole point of it. So yes, I will do some of those same bottles, but it's more luck than anything for me. So rarely would I ever pay secondary to be able to put it online for you guys and gals. Just about me and the boys sharing a drink and then me telling everybody else, hey, it's either good or it sucks. So choose for yourself. So I always said when I started this, look, I'm not an expert, still not an expert. I could probably do this for 10 more years and I won't be an expert. And there's a couple reasons. One, I don't want to be. Because I am doing this for fun. The other reason is I will never dive in deep enough that I could tell you, you got to get this bottle with this series and this warehouse location and over here and what? What? You want to talk about taking the fucking fun out of it? I just want to know if it's good and I want to drink it and I'm probably going to share it. So that's why I don't get into the weeds on every bottle. I'll tell you enough stuff that you need to know, but I don't get into it. I look up enough about it so I can tell you maybe a little story if it's interesting. I'll tell you about the proof and maybe the mash bill, maybe where it's made, what it costs, if I like it or don't like it, if it's hot or not hot, or if the flavor lingers or if it dissipates. That's the shit I'm going to tell you. Most of the time, I don't look at anything else. And in fact, just this morning, I got up, I had a YouTube notification from my channel. Somebody had gone and it's been, I don't know, a month or two ago, I did one of the Milam and Green's unabridged bourbons. And again, I've said this before, I love Milam and Green. They do some really good stuff. So if you haven't tried any of theirs, try some of them out. But I did the unabridged. And the question this morning was, which volume was it? And I was like, fuck, did they have volumes? Like, I didn't know. But in fairness, I was like, let me go look. And right there on the bottle that I reviewed and have had pours since said Volume 1. I was like, there's the answer to the quiz. So I responded back to my friend, Volume 1. It was the OG. It was the original. It was probably the most rare of them simply because it was the original from 2022, I believe, was the release of Volume 1. And I think they've done annual releases since then. I know there were several. When I looked it up, there were several releases, but I didn't look. I just wanted to see which one mine was, and there it was. They did do volumes. So I just try not to get too caught up in the granular shit because for me, and remember, this isn't a scientific episode. I did no research for this shit. That's just my rambling rants. For me, it'll take the fun out of it if I got to dig in there and find out, which rick house it was in and what level. And now I know what some of that shit means. Because sometimes it's very important, specific to a certain bottle or a certain release or whatever. The warehouse locations, there are some historic warehouses out there from the 1800s when a lot of these bourbon brands started. And some because of where they're located or how they're conditioned, right? Because it could just be open air or it could be climate controlled. That matters. Same with the warehouse, the rack locations, especially in the open air ones, because the higher up, heat rises. So that one gets more heat. The higher it is, it gets more humidity. The higher it is. And that impacts flavor. Certainly, without a doubt. So sometimes that matters. Mostly, those are going to be in your single barrels and special batch releases and some of the very, very small batch releases. Because even a small batch, man, when you're talking up to 200 barrels, they're not picking 200 of the high-level barrels to blend. So all of those things I get. Sometimes it does matter. And I can't tell you that I've ever bought one because of it, but there have been some single barrels that I bought, and then I was just curious, and I was like, wonder where this was at. And sometimes I'll share that because I know some people do give a shit about it. And so somebody's going to ask, so I don't mind sharing that. But most of the time, it is what it is. Does it taste good? Fuck yes. Or hell no. So I get it. That shit matters for some bottles. And that's cool. And that's okay. And I'm not criticizing anybody who does get to that depth of it, especially if you are a collector, which, again, God bless you. This shit was made to drink. It wasn't made to collect, but whatever. To each their own. So while it does matter for some bottles, it does not matter for most bottles. But the one thing that does matter is the taste. The taste of every fucking bottle of bourbon matters. But that's only if you don't leave it unopened. So, again, I had a ball doing the blind taste test with the two Elijah Craigs, 18 and 15. Man, I really thought it was going to work out differently. And it didn't, and I'm not disappointed. And here's the reality, and here's the honesty. If you saw it, you'll see that I was almost out of the 18 year. And again, I didn't drink all of it because I've shared that with my boys. I shared it with Bob when we were in Dallas. All the guys that have come over here, I've let whoever wanted to try that, try it. And it's almost empty. But that's one of those I will spend another $200 for to replenish because I will drink it. The 15-year, probably the same, but I haven't drank near as much of that. So sometimes the bottles are worth it. But only if you're going to drink them, because otherwise it doesn't matter. So we talked about the blind test before. So would you know if you tried a lower end bourbon, let's say a Buffalo Trace, $26 Buffalo Trace versus something a little more high end? I know some of you would. There's no question. But would most of you? And I say that even challenging myself, because the only one I've done is the one I did this week with the 18 and 15. But I'm going to challenge myself to do more. And I may even try some that I don't think I like very well versus one that I know I like. But when you put it on the little Lazy Susan fucking thing and you don't know which one you're going to get, that is the real test. And I really like that. So I want to try shelf bourbon versus an allocated or harder to find bottle. Maybe a mid-range $50, $60 bottle, maybe $100 versus one that's more expensive than that. I mean, I probably won't because I'm not going to buy a bottle more expensive than that. There are a few that I will buy that are $200. There's nothing beyond that. There is nothing at $300 or more that I would buy. Not a bottle. No Pappy, no, none of that shit. I wouldn't. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I wouldn't. Because I had the 10 and the 20. I wasn't a fan. I just literally did not think it was as good as some of the shelf bottles that I do buy and drink. But again, that's my palate. Some of you like rye. It's okay to suck. But like I said, those Elijah Craigs, 15, 18 for sure. $200 all day. Not every day, because that would be an expensive habit. Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend. That's one I've done before. Just the Joseph Magnus, it was, I think it was $100 for a bottle when I first tried it. And I was like, it is good. It's very good. Is it worth $100? Probably. Until I tried the cigar blend. And again, I've told this story before. I told my buddy Mark, we were both looking for it. I was like, if you find it, get it. If I find it, I'll get it. And I did. It was $200. And I told him it better fucking be twice as good as the regular. And it was. I would pay $200 for another bottle of Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend. It is that good. That one you could probably put up against many or most of these rare allocated bottles. And you might surprise yourself with that one too. Blanton's Gold. I tried the straight from the barrel uncut. Didn't like it. It was too ethanol forward for me. And I like it hot. But it wasn't flavorful hot. It was ethanol hot to me. And I didn't like it. So I wouldn't buy the bottle. But the gold, that's worth the higher price point. That one was so silky smooth and great flavor. And this Elijah Craig cured oak. Now I'm not paying $500, $600, $700 like secondary. This tells you how stupid the bourbon thing has gotten. It's an $80 bottle. Now, granted, it's a little more rare and exclusive because it's only the second time in 11 years. It's worth something. Maybe a couple $100 because that thing's packed with flavor. No mistake. I already loved the small batch. Uncut, most of the Taylor stuff is primo. That one might just take the cake, but if they're only going to do it every 11 years, don't buy the bottle and wait, because you don't know what you're missing. But to me, those bottles are worth the money, and I would buy those again. But there's just so many good bottles on the shelf. If you're just drinking bourbon, they fucking sit there every day waiting for you, and they are worth it. So the key thing that I learned when I wrote Beyond the Bottle is that I just enjoy drinking bourbon, how it slows you down, and you just sip on it, and maybe you have a cigar. I get to help people, hopefully help them enjoy it by telling them a little bit about whatever I'm talking about, whether I think a bottle is worth the price, whether I think it tastes good or doesn't, too hot, not hot enough, whatever. The whole intent of that when I set out to do this, started doing it, and still today, that's still my intent, is just to help people find their way. It's not about finding the higher proof, not the rarer bottle. It's just opening the damn bottle. Find a bottle that you want and are willing to open, no matter what it is. Because like I said, I open every one of them and I share with the people that matter to me. So if you are newer, looking to find your way, and you happen to watch what I say or listen to what I say, if you're trying to find your way like I had to do over the last 6 years, here's my advice. This is very, very simple advice. Pour 2 fingers. Don't look up the secondary price. If it seems expensive, maybe look it up. Don't overpay. How about that? Don't overpay for it. Pour 2 fingers. Don't overpay for the bottle. And for God's sake, don't fucking ask the internet whether you're supposed to like it or not, or what it's supposed to taste like. And just drink the fucking bourbon. It's why it was made and put in the bottle. Find a friend, call a friend. You don't know how much they may need to hear from you, and to sit down and sip on a glass and talk about old times, create new memories, or maybe they need to talk about something that's troubling them. I encourage everybody to do that, whether you're new in this game or not, because I can tell you, I've learned that that's the most important piece to me. Not what's in the bottle, but the moments that are created from pouring it out of the bottle and sharing it. That's all I got. Until next week, keep the pours in the glass, not on the shelf. Tune in for more After Hours. Cheers.